All right. Well, on that note, why don't we why don't we begin the process? We have this handy dandy wonderful random character generator, and we're going to take an adventure together, an adventure of the mind. Right? Right now, if you just close your eyes, don't get in trouble, don't go off the road, don't, fall over or whatever. We just have this black background, right? And slowly we're going to have these different colored mists, these ethereal currents of potential and magic and energy and mass, and we're going to allow them to just float and mix. And with every part of the character, they're going to congeal, condense, take a form, and we're going to get an outline. And then from there, we're going to fill in the character in a 2D way. Then we're going to breathe life into him or her and make it a 3D character and a very compelling character. And we are going through the creation process because we are creators. Bloody Torchic, I'll let you know if I can follow along later. This is the first time I've had you up. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a good experiment, Torchic. I will do my best not to deviate from the normal presentation. That way we can use this as a standard. And Bubonic One says no monk. Well, we'll find out here shortly. Let's roll a percentile die and figure out if we have a boy or a girl. 24, that is a female character. And which race is she? We're going to roll a d10, well, twice, and find out. If we get a 10 on the first roll, we're going to re-roll it. Number 7, ooh, we have another half-elf. This is 3 in the party. So, something's going on here. I'm going to roll the d10 again and find out, because there's not really half-elf sub-races. If we roll odds or evens, that will determine maybe a tiebreaker situation, right? Does she favor her elven side more or her human side more? And we can then use a little bit of what we call plot putty, right? We can sort of fill in gaps or sculpt or do little things with it. Is that in a genetic sense? Does she resemble a human more than an elf? Or is this maybe in her demeanor? Does she carry on as a little bit more ephemeral or whimsical, like a human? Or maybe a little bit more dogmatic? No, dogmatic's not really appropriate for elves. Maybe more a dwarf thing. She just has a very long view because she knows she'll live a long time. Alright, so we have a half-elf. Let's roll it one more time. Evens, we rolled a 10. That means that she is going to be favoring her elven side. Ooh, this is all 3 are favoring their elven side. Now, what we've started doing with this week, and we've talked about it before, is what kind of an elf was the pairing, right? Humans don't really have a subspecies. Elves have a subrace of the high elves, the wood elves, the Drow. If you allow it in your campaign, they have the Eladrin, which are very magically suffused, like naturally magical elves, even above a half-elf. And you might even run into some other variants. In fact, our second character we generated this week was a half-Drow we determined. And the last one we made is a half-high elf. Bubonic says, Monk's not so bad, but my god, 1 to 2 bards a week. Well, this is quite the fickle D12 we're rolling then, right? So we don't have to determine right now what her ancestry is. And you know what? At the tabletop, something to speak to your DM about. Could it have an effect in some way? Maybe. Are you just a generic half-elf and all half-elves look the same? It's up to you and your DM. Now that we have that information, let's determine her alignment. We're going to roll 2d100 and use those to position her on the 2 axes to make the 9 different alignments. Roll it. 71, 84. 71 falls in neutral, 84 falls in chaotic. She is a chaotic neutral character. This was brought up earlier in the Discord. If any of you aren't following it, there's some really good advice and storytelling going on there. I would like to point out that as opposed to previous eras of D&D, or perhaps even other types of role-playing games, in my opinion, there's my caveat, there's my there's my asterisk, and then you're going to see a footnote down at the bottom. In my opinion, alignment isn't a guiding star for your character. Alignment is a part of your personality. It is one of several ways in which you measure your personality and a check against your behaviors. It's not necessarily the carrot that is put in front of your character in order to make him or her act a certain way. You may play differently as a player. You may run differently as a DM. This is hashtag my opinion. Alright, she is not evil. We're not going to worry about any of the special evil classes in the DMG. Now we need to determine what level she'll be, and we're going to do that with a percentile roll, because the levels have been banded along a standard distribution curve. If you don't know what that is, feel free to look it up. We're going to change this to a 1d100 and roll them. 87. 87 is going to put us... Ooh, wow. We are in the realm of level 19. Almost a truly epic character. Although you could argue, I think, 16? I think it's 17 plus is the quote-unquote epic levels. Level 19, wow. All right. Now that we've determined her level, we need to see how many of those stat bumps she's going to get along the way she's going to keep as those ability score increases, or I'm sorry, the ability score improvements. Or will she take feats instead? We're going to roll a percentile die for this as well and consult the chart. 46. All right, she is all stat gains. This is all her, baby, all her. Next up, I'm going to generate a 13-sided die, and we are going to determine which background she is taking. You are correct in noticing that we have not yet generated a class. Is that making you anxious or nervous? Are you used to describing your character? Oh, I'm an elven cleric. Oh, but there is so much more to character creation in fifth edition. Yes, race counts, class counts, but there's a third leg to make a stable stool. You need at least 3 legs to make a stool. Your character sits atop that stool. Race, class, and background. Your background is a big part of your character. Monks not so... Oh, yeah, that... Oh, yeah, the 4, 8, 12. Yep. And that we calculated that through specifically bubonic so that we would be hitting these big milestones more frequently to be able to discuss feats more, or to show stat bumps, or to manipulate our stats a little bit more in fun and interesting ways. Yay! It's done. My dryer has completed its cycle. I hope you enjoyed the little song. Alright, so we have our 13-sided die. Let's roll it. Jake says, so I've ran a little experiment 6 times in the past couple weeks. Every few days, I'll go to this clearing that my friends and I found a couch in. Every single time we visited, the couch has been drastically moved to a new position. Too spoopy for me. Oh. You can, so what you might be able to do, if you... Oh, yes, a dark wolf, a dark wolf has shown up, but if she's not home yet, yeah. I can do it in the meantime, too. It's still, it's still early. We're still good, dark wolf. Dorgrim walks in, notes the fez, smiles and waves as he takes a seat at the table. Well, yes, welcome, Dorgrim. I'll shake my tassel in a very PG-13 manner, mind you. Torchic, I know you're listening to this. No lewd thoughts now. Tisk tisk. So Jake, I don't know if you have any buddies who hunt, but you can get something called a trail camera. And what hunters do is they'll like strap it to a tree or something, and the camera will turn on when it senses motion. So if you're ever curious about what goes on, and by the way, don't ask a question you're not willing to to learn the answer to. If you want to know what's going on in this clearing with that couch, you can very discreetly put a trail camera, you can strap it to a tree or a branch, and it'll only record when it's sensing motion. And what you do is you can come back later and harvest the camera from the tree and find the answer. Where were we? Oh, yes. The 13-sided die landed on 12. Ooh, we have another soldier. Oh, my goodness. Soldier. There are 8 different kinds of soldiers that are offered as themes in the player's handbook. I'm going to roll an 8-sided die and figure out which one we're going to be. 1. Now, I can't tell you off the top of my head what soldier number 1 is, what it means. It doesn't matter right now. We're using it as a placeholder. And in fact, we're going to generate a few more numbers to act as placeholders mentally. Then we're going to go to the physical placeholders as we're bringing this silhouette pulled from the mists of time and space and, etherealness into being. There's nowhere to hide a camera, a flat dirt clearing that leads off to a cliff with a couch. Just sat there. Oh. Well, then, you can come up with some sort of a fun story. What could happen? What could be moving the couch? All right, here's our D8 roll. We are going to be so... I'm sorry, that was our first one. Our second one for our second personality is... Well, I can't have 8 twice. I mean, if you do this at home and you get the same number twice, maybe you're super, you're really focused on that as your character, and you just bring it up to your DM. Otherwise, for what we're doing, I like having 2 different boundary points. Kind of border checks for our character. There we go. 8 and 4 is what we're looking at. Again, I can't tell you what these are off the top of my head, and even if I could, it doesn't matter right now. Whoops. Ideal number 1, bond number 1, and flaw number 6. Now is the big golden button that we roll. I'll move out of the way here. Hopefully, Dorgrim, you're going to get your wish, and you want one of these like bread and butter classes like fighter or soldier or something along those lines. Bloody Torchic is offering, can you just plant a bush? Jake says we have a couple ideas, one being a spooky demon, the other being another group of people that use questionable substances on the couch and move it around. And Bubonic One seems to is thinking it's choice number 2. That could be. Well, you have a good campaign idea now, right? All right, Bubonic. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins. Just like Hulk Hogan told us to do so all those years ago, we're going to find out if you're going to get your wish. Bubonic One doesn't want a bard. So if we see number 2, or he said a monk also, but we might have to go and pick up Bubonic One off the floor if this is a number 2. Dorgra, me that wasn't me that wished it out in the open. I would not mind seeing a fighter now that you mention it. Here we go. Number 4. Number 4 is a druid. Dun 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 dun. We're gonna roll this one more time to determine, is it a circle of the land? In other words, it's a very spellcasting heavy druid, or a circle of the moon, which is a shape-shifting focused druid. Evens, we rolled evens, and that is circle of the moon. There we go. Lastly and not leastly, we are going to determine the height, weight, and age of the character randomly. Half-elves on our chart begin at 4 feet 9 inches tall, and we're going to add 2d8 inches to her. We're adding 14 inches. All right, so that is going to be 3'11". That is going to be 4'2". She's yeah, you know what? She's a little on the tall side. Or wait, not 4'2". I'm sorry. I meant 6'2". What am I doing? I must have been thinking of the gnomes. We generated a forest gnome, and last night we generated a rock gnome. Anyway, we're going to take that same 14. Now we're going to multiply it by 2d4 pounds by 6. So we're going to add 84 pounds to her standard weight of 110. So she is 194 pounds in weight. This is a big girl. She's been eating her, she's been saying her prayers and taking her vitamins, you know. She's been drinking milk. She's got the stature. It won't be too hard to turn into a bear or something. Okay, her age we're gonna determine with a die roll. Ooh, 3. 3 puts. Oh, we have another child prodigy. Interesting. Nolan, who is our evil, perhaps our defector from the Imperial Army, was also a child. There's only a 5% chance for that to happen, and we hit it twice. And she's level 19. My goodness. The things... What has she seen and done? Maybe this druidic gift. What if... In fact, we can even say, what if she's actually 200 years old? But she has found some way, like her body stopped aging after a while or something along those lines. Maybe Dorgrim? Maybe. They are both soldiers. They are both children. They are both elves. She's chaotic neutral, and you know, not that you can't have a drow that does that. Maybe for some reason... Well, let's see. What level was he? Yeah, he was level 12. Maybe they are related, or maybe this is, you know, do they have to be? Not necessarily, but you might find that siblings would roll out together in a party more often. Let's see how old she is. We have half-elves. A child prodigy is between 11 and 19 years old, as it would be considered in the culture to be. I mean, now that'll depend, you know, if she's more elf-focused, you could raise it up more, and because, look, elves don't reach a quote-unquote adulthood. I mean, so much as a human would be an adult at 16 or 18 until, until 16 I'm sorry, 16 is kind of what we're using for humans. Elves, you are an adult at 100 years old. Now, obviously, half-elves don't live as long, so that gets pushed back. Anyway, let's roll a 9-sided die. So we'll roll a d10 and re-roll a 10 if we get it. 4. She is 14 years old. She actually has a couple years on Nolan here. All right. So this ability to maybe to change her shape and form has left an impression. You know, she's just grown more quickly. She stood out in her classes. In fact, I don't know, maybe she was even made fun of because she's a bigger girl. There's a lot of different ways that we can explain. How do you have a 14-year-old who's 6'2" and almost 200 pounds and is a level 19 druid? It is still possible, and we don't even need to suspend that much disbelief. Excellent. So we have all of our randomly generated numbers. We're going to minimize the spreadsheet we're using. Trinket is in lurk mode. Hey, I work at the moment, so you're lurking. But if anyone needs me, you'll be harem. Trinket is at a harem. It's all right, Trinket. Bloody Torchic is doing the same thing. So you two are being very naughty together. Maybe the Empire uses magical children early and sends them out to war. That's true. You know, sending out child soldiers can be a very shocking tactic to use. Dark Wolf is saying maybe an older sibling, the true protector for Nolan. Could be. Let's find out a little bit more about her personality, and we'll look into that. All will be revealed. Not that we can't have anything be anything. We certainly can. But let's play within our artificial boundaries a little bit. There's Sage, there's Sailor, and Soldier. All right, Soldier origin number 1 is an officer. Ooh. Hey, you know what? So she's an officer, and Nolan was infantry. She is also going to have the background of military rank. Someone hold Dark Wolf's beer. I'm a drawer, she says. I'm a drawer. So does this, if we want her to be a sibling, or maybe there are Drow up north in the Shadahar Empire, and in this case, well, we have another half Drow. Maybe these child soldiers, or they've lived in a frontier area and the Empire wants to use them first as shock soldiers. So if we want, she can be a half Drow as well if we wish. And again, not that Drow can't be good. They are more inclined for evil for different reasons. Though you may play a good Drow. Jose, good evening to you. It is good to see you again. Hey, I think we're 2 for 2 on days that we have a Jose among us. I'll put a note here. I'll put a D question mark. So, is she a half Drow elf? Or a dark elf? The Badass Forerunner Elite. Hello to you as well. Welcome, as we're generating this character, number 5 of 5 for the campaign we're going to be creating tomorrow. So, Forerunner, if you have any questions or comments about what we're doing on screen, or about role-playing or D&D in general, you're welcome to ask. This isn't a lecture. I'm not, I'm not going to get upset if my presentation, such as it is interrupted. So if you are you new to D&D? Have you been running or playing for a while? In either case, pull up a chair to our table. You are welcome. I've overstayed at the store today and just got home. What's the character? We have a 14-year-old Druid, Circle of the Moon, which probably explains all that shape-shifting. She's a big girl. She's 6'2", 194 pounds. She is presumably a female. She's a half dark elf, or a half Drow, we're presuming. We rolled as a soldier officer, and interestingly enough, the second character we made this week is another child soldier. He's only 11, and he's a child prodigy. He went monk bard, and he was in the infantry. So perhaps she is either an older sibling, or we're conceptualizing the campaign is going to be set kind of like the video game Valkyria Chronicles. I don't know if you've seen it or played it or heard of it. The members of the party from Mesotopia are going to be sent out to try and prevent an invasion from this Shadahar Empire that we've created in this Twitch world. You know, it's a chat world. We've made it together through a collective consciousness and maybe even an unconsciousness effort. And so now we just have another a child soldier who's an officer, who could very well be another Drow, indicating something cultural up north, or perhaps they're related. It could be either one. It could just be mere circumstance. And we're just getting now into the details of her personality, Jose. You have your own D&D character, says Forerunner, but it's odd. Well, what's odd about your character? Are you willing to share a little bit about him or her with us, Forerunner? Okay, as you know, you get a background feature. In this case, if she flashes her military rank in a place that it's accepted, you can obtain supplies, transportation, favors, communication, that sort of thing. Now, what's interesting, if we want to flavor her as another defector from the Empire's army, her military rank won't mean too much in Mesotopia. In fact, that could probably get her in trouble. What it could do is, as the party leaves Mesotopia early in the campaign, and they make their way into the Outlands, and they face, border patrols or posts or something, that would still allow this player character to use military rank, despite this being a quote-unquote Mesotopia campaign. Or since females rule the Drow, it wouldn't be so odd if she was an officer. By default, she would be in a higher position. That is true, Bubonic. Very good consideration. Okay, are you ready? This is her personality. We put down some placeholders, don't know what they mean until right now. Unless you all cheated and looked ahead in the book. Tut tut. Personality traits, number 8. I face problems head on. A simple, direct solution is the best path to success. Also, number 4, I'm full of inspiring, if I can spell, and cautionary tales from my military experience, relevant to almost every combat situation. So, despite only being 14, she's seen some things. Now, of course, 14 might be an apparent age, right? We're dealing with druids and nature magic. She very well could be a young lady becoming a young adult, or she could be older than that and simply look that age because of nature magics or the ability that she has intrinsically to change her form. Nolan will stab you in the back, she'll stab you in the front. It's a practical solution, right? Oh, this door's stuck. Oh, well, I'll turn into a bear. Door's unstuck. Nice and practical. All right, her ideal is 1, the greater good. Our lot is to lay down our lives in defense of others. Our bond is number 1. I would still lay down my life for the people I served with. So she has left a detachment at some point in time, or the detachment left her. She was separated from them by circumstance or death, or something else had occurred. She received orders from higher on up. While she is chaotic neutral isn't the carrot in front of the character. This is simply a way that she offers, it has an influence on her personality and her expression. It is not the character entirely. This can still work very well within everything we're making for our character. Yep, that's true, Bloody Torchic. She may have said certain vows to join the service, though in her heart of hearts, does she actually believe those vows? Or did she perhaps have her fingers crossed behind her back as she spoke them? Let's see. We have Forerunner saying, well, it's not as my party, which has an orc shaman, a wizard shardmind, a paladin gnome, and then there's me as an eladrin. No, it's fine. And the orc has a spirit snake. Oh, are you playing in 4th edition, Forerunner? Sounds like a merry band, says Jose. And, yeah, me and the orc don't get along well. I once set him on fire. Oh, my. That is quite a mix, though. That's a cool way. That's a cool party. Torchic says, her personal greater good may be totally different from what most people are. Think Poison Ivy believing that the chaos of nature is the true good. Yeah. We have a bit of a Poison Ivy character, don't we, too, Torchic? And what is her flaw? It is number 6. I'd rather eat my armor than admit when I'm wrong. Very stubborn girl. Very stubborn. In fact, maybe she's out here on this expedition in order... Maybe this is what separated her from her group. Something happened. She was under command, and she says, I'm going to go out and fix it. And she went out to try and fix it. Because she doesn't want to admit that she's wrong. And she's willing to do what it takes in order to commit to it. So even if she is loyal to this invading empire, and she's split off, she's not necessarily out to harm people from Mesotopia, because that's not her mission. I should do a YouTube video where I do a tour of the store. If you'd like to see it, I could do something like that, Tin Cat. If nothing else, I could do it as a series of pictures, and I could put that in one of our Discord channels. Sounds like my character, but dark and soulless. It's a very long story of how he even lost his soul to the devil. Well, if you want to share that, Forerunner, you're welcome to do so. This is the place to do just that. Tell your tale as a player, as a DM. Share these experiences, and I'll tell you what, Forerunner. If you would like to join our Discord, you're welcome to do so. In fact, I have it up over here. If you do join us, Forerunner, you'll see other stories. You can submit your own in chat. I have no problem reading them live and being a part of this experience you're sharing. You can also type or retype them here in Tales from the Tabletop. And not only can you share your stories, but you can read the stories of a lot of other people in a lot of other different circumstances. All right, I'll put that away for now so we can continue making progress on our character. We are almost finished with her background. Being a soldier, she is going to have training in athletics and intimidation, especially as an officer, right? She is going to be proficient in some kind of a gaming set. Cards, dice, like chess pieces, board game stuff. Some kind of a gaming set, and vehicles, land. Heck, maybe she even drugged the card a couple times. In her backpack, we're going to give her an insignia of rank. A trophy taken from a fallen enemy or an enemy left behind. And we can even roll that as a trinket. We'll put trinket number something. We'll put gaming set of her choice, common clothes, belt pouch, and 10 gold pieces. Now that we've finished her background, let's explore what she gets by being a half-elf. Our charisma is going to increase by 2. Then we can add 1 to something else. Whatever we'd like. It's a free point. She is a druid. We're probably going to want to put that in wisdom because that is our primary spell casting stat. We can take it aside and say, look, can you have a druid who has a 10 wisdom? If I said charisma before, I'm sorry. It is wisdom that's a casting stat for druids. Yeah, of course you can. Not all spells need attack rolls. Not all spells need to have saves made against them that you have to eke out every single point that you can. There are support spells that don't require any sort of modifiers other than the ability to cast the spell, and it provides a static effect. Don't be afraid of having or challenging yourself to run a character that isn't optimized for what everyone else may do for that character. Have fun with it. It's a roleplay challenge. You know, if we wanted to make her, like, she can turn into a bear or even bigger if she sees things. Maybe we don't make her really a spellcasty druid, or if so, then they're buff spells or things like that. You know, support spells. You know, she's an officer. She's there to support. So maybe she spends a lot of her time in normal form, or if she needs to turn to an animal, she's using that as a tool that's available to her. So having a high wisdom may not be important to her. That's something to think about. Consider that for your own character. If you're piloting one right now, and let's say you're playing a sorcerer who uses charisma, what would you do differently if your sorcerer had a charisma 10 and a strength 18 or whatever you have for your charisma right now for this sorcerer character? Go through a mental exercise. Try it. Think about all of the things that could unlock and the possibilities. Or if nothing else, it's going to challenge yourself to maybe learn different spells than what you're used to casting or even that you're comfortable using. The Awu is the Awu is home. The Awu is in the den. I repeat, the Awu is in the den. Trinket says, also, Maddie, I'd like to get your opinion on something currently going on in my life. It's kind of personal, so if you're okay, yep, you can PM me, Trinket. I will happily do that. And I will address you off screen as soon as I can. But I give personal advice in my professional life as well, and I don't mind helping you out, Trinket. Bubonic One is offering a stat spread. Jose, oh, you have a pick of that 18 strength wizard? Share it under character art, safe for work character art, if you don't mind, Jose. Bubonic is thinking about this for the original distribution of stats. We want to go, 14? He wants to go with an 8 dex on her, a 10 con, a 12 int, a 15 whiz, and a 13 charisma. All right, we'll use as placeholders, and we'll definitely get there soon enough. What else are we getting? We are medium-sized. We also get 60 feet of dark vision. Woohoo! Our run speed is 30 feet, meaning our climb is 15, and our swim is 15, and our fly is 0. I'll tell you what, though, with a druid, you want to write that in pencil. That can change depending on what you do. We also have Fey Ancestry. That does 2 things for us. We cannot be magically put to sleep. As well, we have advantage versus being charmed, as per the status condition. We are also going to be receiving, I'm going to make a little note here in cantrips, 2 skills. Any 2 skills for being a half-elf. We also are going to be able to speak Common, Elven, and question mark. We get a bonus language. I'm putting another comma because we're going to get something for Druid too. Cool. Well, that was fairly quick and easy, wasn't it? Collapse this and come down to Chapter 3 classes. And there's our Druid. We're going to be taking this all the way to 19. You sent it on pictures? Okay, Jose. Hey, what time do I do this stream? Forerunner, we go from 11 p.m. Eastern time to 3-ish a.m. Eastern time, which, depending on where you are, it's minus 4 GMT. Though there are times when we have conversations and everything is humming right along, and we just talk about D&D and do D&D content until 4 or 5. Or I'll play Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines a little bit because it's still a role-playing game, and we can talk role-playing while going through that game together. Spicy Larry, yes. I had one more hit left. I was so low on health. Oh my gosh, it was crazy, Spicy Larry. I did get past Bishop Vic though. Thank you, Plunder Loot. I appreciate it. It's Fez Friday. Forerunner, I have two characters that are completely different from one another. Which one is Warforged Juggernaut, and the other is an Eladrin Warlock. Okay, so yeah, it does sound like you're playing 4th edition D&D, correct? If you said that above and I missed it, I'm sorry, just humor me. And yeah, a Warforged Juggernaut would be very different than an Eladrin Warlock, for sure. Well, haha, everything but achieving the Archdruid status is ours. This is a big blue box. Jose says, also, side note, my hiccups were a side effect of medicine you were given the other day. Oh. Has that calmed down, Jose? Are you better now? Being a druid, we are a D8 hit die class. We're going to fill that in up here in the appropriate box. Being level 19, it so happens we have 19 D8 hit dice to use. Hit dice represent your innate ability to heal yourself, to recover. You're a stronger character and you have more potential inside of you. No, you're given a new... oh, no. Well, I hope that the hiccups are not as bad as whatever you're trying to recover from, Jose. Next up, druids get a very interesting array of armor and weapons that are available. Armor is light, medium, and shields. There is a note that says druids will not wear armor or use shields made of metal. Can you run a druid with full plate armor? Yes. If you have the proficiency, or we'll go half plate. You know medium armor. You can. There's nothing mechanical stopping you. That parenthetical phrase is saying it's considered a taboo. Culturally, this is something that's not done. And that the druid class was not really meant for druids actually wearing metallic armor. So there's a fluff reason, like storyline, right? We don't wear armor. We protect ourselves with wood and leather and bone, things of nature, not things wrought by the hand of man. If your DM allows it, then march into combat in full plate armor. Interesting side note. Yeah, leather, hide, skins, scales. Not metal scales, though. Oh, Jose. Okay, well, hopefully, you are getting over that quickly. Yeah, dragon bone, things like that. Dragon scales. You have a lot of druid player to acquire half plate armor made from chitin. Yeah, Dorgrim. Yeah, you can use giant insects, perhaps, and cosmetically, it looks like chitin or chitin. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. People do it different ways. And then count it as metal because it should be quote unquote as hard as metal. Make plate armor from giant dragons or bones. So you can be creative. You can still count as wearing metal. It's a cosmetic, thematic, it's maybe a religious taboo to wear metal armor. Now, for the weapons, I'm just going to put druid weapons. It's almost all simple weapons plus a scimitar. Minus ranged, but I'm going to put druid weapons to keep it simple. Though I would recommend, if you don't know what druid weapons are, look at page 65 in the player's handbook and it'll tell you. We will also be getting a tool proficiency in the herbalism kit. Our saving throw proficiencies are intelligence and wisdom. So as you see here, I filled in the diamonds next to where it says saving throws. Because next to every ability is the saving throw, and beneath it are the skills relevant to that ability. Oh, yeah, it is slings, yeah. Okay. Now we need to choose our Druid skills. Arcana, animal handling, insight, medicine, nature, perception, religion, and survival. All right. We need to look at her class, her personality especially. Don't pretend like we have our scores assigned yet. We don't really. We have placeholders. Who is she? Let's pick skills based on who she is as a person, right? She's an officer. She's a soldier who's an officer. She is a shape-shifting druid. I face problems head on. A simple, direct solution is the best path to success. As well, I'm full of inspiring and cautionary tales from my military experience, relevant to almost every combat situation. Our lot is to lay down our lives in defense of others. I would still lay down my life for the people I served with, and I'd rather eat my armor than admit that I'm wrong. No problem, Tin Cat. So Tin Cat is choosing animal handling and survival as the 2 druid skills. Now, mind you, we're also going to get 2 half-elf skills as well. Animal handling is questionable. Well, as a druid, you can take spells to help with that. So we can take it as a skill because, look, not all places allow magic, or you can even produce magic. I mean, we could say the same thing with medicine too. But again, as an officer, you might not always want to use magic or even have magic available. You might want to train yourself in how to non-magically address situations for that very reason. Having magic isn't just a bonus. There's a responsibility and even drawbacks to it. So I'm seeing... I've seen medicine then. Tin Cat and Bubonic think medicine. By the way, any of you out there, Dorgrim, Jose, Forerunner, if you want to leave a thumbprint on this character, this isn't my character. This is our character. We're building her together. We're building her from our own opinions and the things that we're drawing as we conceptualize her. Jose likes survival. So religion, I'm seeing a couple different things here. I'm seeing, so medicine, survival, religion and medicine. Jose likes survival. So I think survival is going to be one of them for sure. Then we've had a couple reasons to give her either medicine or religion. Maybe that actually explains why she was brought up and she was a child prodigy. Her background as a soldier gave her athletics and intimidation. Darkwolf is thinking perception or medicine. You'd vote medicine because she's an officer, so that way she can help the people in her squad. All right, I think we have our skills here from being a druid. She's going to get survival and medicine. Now, from being a half-elf, we can still give her 2 more skills. So that could leave... there's a few other things. Dorgrim, history is available as a half-elf. We can give her history. Darkwolf is mentioning perception. And the other one that was mentioned and not yet taken was religion. So it could be religion, history... perception. Jose agrees with Dorgrim, so we should take one of our half elf skills and put it into history. Okay. We get one more skill now from being a half elf. It could be any skill. Tin Cat, when it comes to D&D, you either die a PC or live long enough to see yourself become the DM. I like that. Alright, so we have one more skill that we can assign to her by virtue of her being a half-elf. If she is this, this greater good, I would lay down my life. She faces problems head-on, a simple and direct solution. Could that be something like investigation? Or if she's full of inspiring and cautionary tales from her military experience? Now, that could be history. Bubonic did bring up that if she's female and has some Drow ancestry, maybe religion would be a big part. Officers can be chaplains as well. Kind of a religious liaison to soldiers in the field. Do we want to make her kind of a chaplain as well? If so, we can give her religion. Dorgrim is saying animal handling, it's not already taken. Religion would not be a core skill for an officer soldier, in his opinion. Maybe not, but this is what we're getting by being a half-elf. If you want to say, does it bleed over one to the next? Well, yeah, I mean, we can go back and forth with that. But as a consideration, this is her. I was raised in circumstances as a half-elf. This is what it gave me. And then I went into being an officer and so forth. Mine, if it's just a vote, medicine because of the soldier backgrounds. She already has... Jose, she already has medicine. You wouldn't think Drow matriarchy would accept half-blood. That may be true as well, Torchic. She may have been cast out. Yes, Jose. We have a big, beautiful cat on screen. Torchic, if you can't see him, just picture the most perfect, wonderful, magnificent beast to ever be... Well, to ever be a friend. Or if you'd rather picture it this way, if you're still cleaning and you're remote listening, think of a slug and then make it really fuzzy. And there you go. That's what you have. I do have 3 cats, Bubonic. Animal handling, because even a private would need to know how to run pack animals on long marches. That could make sense. Alright, so let's give her animal handling as well. Cool, we're caught up on skills. Now we're going to get some equipment. We can make a decision. She is a sword... Well, I'll say sword and board. She is the Circle of the Moon Druid. Not too spellcasty, so if we wanted to, we could give her, scimitar and shield. If that's the case, Bubonic One had suggested, with the stat spread, to give her an 8 dex. Yeah, I am proficient in animal handling, eh? Yep, we have a cat cam for sure. We can determine with the equipment we give her what kind of a person do we want her to be outside of animal form or casty form. Do we want to give her a shield? A shield and a weapon. Do we want her to not necessarily be in the mix? I don't know, as an officer, maybe fighting with a sword and shield is important. And if so, do we want to make her dex-based or strength-based? And if it is a little difficult to read here, the stat spread, I'll repeat here. This is what Bubonic had suggested. If you think that it should be different, well, you can certainly make a case for it. We'll talk it out. Let's flesh her out. We don't have anything committed on paper yet. Bobicus, oh my gosh, you're back. Nah, nothing happened. No, seriously, dude, it is good to have you back. Welcome. And you know, I'm fine if we make Dex her dump stat. That's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. We can make her strength based and go as Forerunner said. Look, she's a soldier. Put her in medium armor. Give her a sword and a shield, and there we go. Yeah, you know, we couldn't complete the Balluminati without you, Bobicus. I hope you've been well. So if we go here, we're going to give her a shield on this modified PDF. You can fill in the shield bonus, and then that'll just indicate that 2 of the armor class is coming from a shield. I'll call Bubonic Bub, and Bubonic says don't. Hey, Mantarok, welcome. We've set down the runes. You have a nice glowing circle around you. Please summon in and present us with wisdom and or madness at your pleasure. So we're going to give her a shield. We'll give her a scimitar. She's a frontline druid. She will, however, get leather armor. An explorer's pack. And a druidic focus. Bo Bob Bub. Is that what the entity of the Balluminati is? The Bo Bob Bub. We summon the Bo Bob Bub, the Balluminati. All right. We are also going to learn how to speak Druidic. Yay. Spellcasting is something we're receiving. We're not going to worry about that till the end. That's going to require stats, and those are in the air right now. Oh, all of this power up going on. Jose, today a guy took a massive game to a store called Kingdom Death Monster. Yes. Jose, I backed that. I have it along with a lot of individual Kingdom Death miniatures. It is a big game. It is. Did he have the miniatures painted also, Jose? I was gushing about Kingdom Death minis a few days ago. Okay, when we get, in addition to this, we are going to get, per our class, Wild Shape. I'm putting down that we get Wild Shape. What does it do? If you want to know, we can break it down more later. I don't mind doing it now if you want to prompt me to do so. Otherwise, Wild Shape, know that this is our ability to turn into certain types of animals. And we can do it a certain number of times a day, and it comes with considerations. It is an expensive game, Bubonic. If you see the contents within it, I backed it and I got 3 or 4 copies of it. I would agree with Jose. I actually got some of the side goals too that came with it. So anyway, we're gonna get Wild Shape. We will get our Druid Circle. At 18th level, we get Timeless Body. We age more slowly. For every 10 years that pass, our body only ages 1 year. Interesting. Do we still want her to be naturally 14 years old or supernaturally 14 years old? Something to consider. We are also going to be receiving Beast spells. You may cast many of your Druid spells in any shape using Wild Shape. You can perform the somatic and verbal components, but you don't have to provide the material. And we are just one shy of being an Arc Druid. At 20th level, you can use your Wild Shape an unlimited number of times per day. Alright, as you can see, Druid itself doesn't give you a lot. This is really coming down to your circle, or your archetype, or your specialty, whatever you want to call it. Circle of the Land, not worrying about it. We're not a spellcaster. We are Circle of the Moon. We are going to get Combat Wild Shape. You choose this at second level. You can Wild Shape as a bonus action rather than as a full action. Additionally, while you're transformed by Wild Shape, you can use a bonus action to expend 1 spell slot to regain hit points. So you can heal yourself while in bear form or whatnot. We also get Circle of Forms. This is going to allow us to advance our shape-shifting ability. We can be more powerful and more creatures overall. Primal Strike. Your attacks in beast form count as magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance. So you turn into a giant eagle, and you go to caca, and you have your talons, and you dig them into an enemy's skull. If they have magic damage resistance, you have magic talons. Elemental Wild Shape. You can turn into elementals. That can be very good and powerful. I mean, by the way, you turn into a wind elemental and your speed becomes 90 and you can fly. Woo. And 1,000 Forms. By 14th level, you've learned to use magic to alter your physical form in more subtle ways. You can cast the Alter Self spell at will. There we go. There's not a lot here because even if you're a shapeshifter, you're still a spellcaster. Druids get a full spellcasting complement. In fact, let me go to it here. Scrolling up. There we go. Our proficiency bonus is going to be +6 at level 19. We are going to know 4 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our placeholders. Our spell slots are going to be 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, and the coveted 9th level spell. What would we blast through there? Jeez. Okay. Now I think we can begin looking at our scores and what we'd like to do with them. Jose says they're like reverse dogs. Forerunner says there's a character I made that what I got to say, I was too drunk. I don't even know why I made it, and it was Tap Tap the Goblin, the Superman Goblin, which was 21, 21, 1, 1. In terms of your ability, the stats. Civil Hermit, hello, welcome. Oh, that's well, if you have a 1 in a stat, I mean that's kind of like being it's like being like a baby or an animal or something. It sounds like though if you really you really specialize there in what, strength and con. So you're just sort of you're either the well, you might not have been able to move too much, so you might have not been the unstoppable force, but you might have been the immovable object for sure, Forerunner. I'm glad you had fun making that character. Do you have any stories to tell of his or her exploits? All right. Now we come to our stats. Dun, 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 dun. If we go by what Bubonic One was conceptualizing and threw out there, and of course you all are welcome, you have been welcome, and you're welcome to give an alternate. Let's see. Civil says, I put a little cry for help with something in Discord's table talk. If anyone here missed it, if you can take a second to look, yeah, no problem. I thought you might recognize the idea from a product that came through your store. Let's take a look-see. Civil Hermit says, I can't seem to remember a concept I heard on a podcast I listened to a long time ago. The concept called something Wraith, I think, was used in a LARP the podcast was talking about and involved combat between PCs. As I understand, the rule basically explained that you could declare this something Wrath and would be allowed to kill another PC outside of a duel to the death. However, any other player would be allowed to kill your PC outside of a duel to the death without any consequence. I'd look to more info on this concept if I can narrow down what was actually called and read up on things or like that. And Forerunner joined us. Thank you for that. You can't seem to find what you're looking for on Google by myself. If anyone knows a similar concept or some kind of rules that would help this search, I'd appreciate the information. Offhand, that's not coming to mind. But this concept of being able to call out kind of a duel between LARP PCs is a something Wrath. Is this anything? Is this familiar to any of you, or can you help do some Google foo and help Civil Hermit find out what this live action role playing game is, or specifically what this ability is to call to battle another PC? Trinket. Oh yeah, Trinket. If you go to medical websites, you probably have you have cancer. You have a parasite living in your nose. You have some rare tropical disease. Nosebleeds are a sign of that you watched the videotape, 6 days ago, and you only have 1 day left to live. You got to really be careful about that. It could come down to, what's the weather been like? Has it been really dry? Have you been keeping? Do you have like a nasal spray, like something to help keep your nose moist? Do you scratch your nose a lot, either on the inside or outside? Things like that. Are you have you been lifting a lot of things? Could you have burst a capillary or something in your nose? Have you been blowing your nose really hard? A lot? That can put stress on your nose. I mean, are you addicted to cocaine? I'm playing Trinket. Hopefully you aren't, and if you are, then go get help. It's out there. Well, I'm over here real quick. Jose shared. Yeah. So that was the level the level 20 or whatever the strength wizard. The wizard has a score of 20 in strength because look at those biceps, and he's got the 6-pack going. He's got that old man strength. And Fan, if you're out there, thank you for sharing. It looks like Colorado is about ready to slide off Earth. I like seeing where you all live and the things that you, the places you live, your skies, your animals, your trees and plants, buildings and architecture, stuff like that. I love it. Thank you. So Civil Hermit, I don't know offhand. Hopefully you can find something here. As well, I can try looking on the side, or I can talk to people in my store community at a later point in time. Logical Wolf, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What's the weather been like? Average temp and such? Oh, geez. Around here, it's now just been nice. I'm in northern Ohio, and, whoa, welcome party RPG. Thank you very much for that raid. I appreciate that. All of you are welcome as we're building this Druid and talking about D&D. So Logical Wolf, it's been really good. Tickling 80 degrees. Got some good clouds going. Dorgrim's. So Dorgrim was addressing Civil's question. Sounds like a PvP flag in the LARP. You get flagged for PvP combat if you kill a PC outside of a duel. And welcome party RPG, thank you for the follow as well. Yep. If you want to join us on Discord, you're welcome to do so. Thank you, Dorgrim, for rolling out that welcome mat. And for welcome party and anyone who came over with him or her, I do want to extend that welcome mat to you. We pull up a chair. You're at a table in a game store. We're discussing role-playing, D&D. We're building a character on the side. This is going to be actually character number 5 for the week, because tomorrow we're going to be going through a campaign. Also, Forerunner here is sharing a story of a very interesting character that he made. Fear, tap, tap the goblin. He will conquer when he can get out of his bed. Yeah, he seems otherwise in conflict if he has all those 20s and all those 1s, right? Speaking of weather, it was so hot, humid at work today. Yeah, well, you're at an arcade too, so you have a lot of people in there. It's probably providing like body heat, and it's a water park, so there's probably moisture and stuff too, despite any air conditioning. Jose says, I find it funny that the sky here, it's only either totally clear or London gray. You know, I noticed that too, Jose. When I was in Peru, we actually got some rain. Now, I mean, when I say rain, that's kind of generous, because I was in Lima, and it was kind of a sprinkle, like a mist. But I do agree. It was just always overcast, or it was a beautiful, pure blue sky. Yeah, I know. Rain, right? That's what we were told. That's what rain is. It was very interesting. You know, Jose, until I was told of it, I didn't realize that there's no gutters on the streets in Lima. It's just paved. It's just pavement. Because there's so little rainfall, there's not a need to have storm drains or storm sewers. And after I was told that, I looked around, and it was like this whole other. It made logical sense, but culturally, I'm so used to seeing storm drains on curbs of the sidewalk that allows all the rain to go down, and it'll go where it goes. But in Lima, because there's just not that much rain or precipitation, there's no need for storm drains, and so all the roads are just flat. Forerunner, he does have a pet drake. Don't ask how he got it. He just did. Maybe the drake is just sort of like, oh, dude, I feel bad for you. Is there anything I can do? Can I be a bro? That's great, Forerunner. Its name was Cece the Red Thing. Oh. That more like some guy with a sprinkler on top of a building. You know what drives me up the wall, says Jose? The sidewalks are smooth. Yeah, that when we did get a little bit of that rain, it did make things kind of slippery. Darkwolf says, but near the hotel or at the front, it was nice and cool, but it's just so warm in the arcade water park. Oh, well, yeah, that water park is going to throw out so much humidity and warmth, Darkwolf. So much. All right, so if we add our racial modifiers, that's going to put us with a 16 wisdom and a 15 charisma. And we get 5, count them, 5 ability score improvements or stat bumps. That means we can put 10 points into whatever we'd like across the board. I get that, Forerunner, and it still sounds like you have a fun concept. I mean, it might need some mechanical tweaking to be viable, but the concept is fun, and it's a good start. Bubonic one, you can use just regular OBS. I think many streamers do. I use Streamlabs OBS, or some people call it Slobs, SLOBS. Both are free. OBS and Streamlabs OBS are both free, Bubonic. All right. Again, no feats, pure stat bumps, right? She's level 19, and it's all her. All her. Jose, there is a Logitech one. I remember when I bought the webcam, it came with a 30-day free trial. And I haven't met anyone who's used it. I imagine that they're doing something that it's worth the subscription. But with so many viable free options, I just didn't know if subscribing to that was something I'd want to do. All right, being a druid, we probably want to put 4 of our 10 points into wisdom, bringing that to 20. We can now go 5, bring our charisma up. So we have 5 more points that we can put into something. We can raise up our strength a little bit more, or we can bump up our constitution, get some more hit points. We do have intelligence here as well. We could even do something like maybe 2 intelligence, 2 constitution, and a strength. Strength is fun if you have an odd number, because this will still give you a mechanical benefit. Your carrying capacity down here is dependent on your strength score, not your strength ability. So having an odd number floating in strength isn't a bad thing. You can receive a mechanical benefit. Yes, it's an uncommon one, but you can still receive a mechanical benefit from it. Yep, refurbished is not a bad thing. I go refurbished. In fact, the computer I bought before I started streaming is a refurbished one. Forerunner, I had a crossover between Dr. Bright and Tap Tap with CC, and things went sideways. And some reason Tap Tap started to dance on a roof with his sword on his head. That's very coordinated for someone who has a 1 in dexterity. Forerunner. Okay, so if we do this, let's bump up our constitution by 2. Let's bump up our intelligence by 2. And let's put our last point in strength. There we go. Those are all 5 of our ability score improvements. All right, Jose, thank you for coming along on the journey again. It was great to see you and to be able to talk more about games and Peru. Bubonic, yes, if you get a 720, many people do stream in 720. The camera I'm using can do 1080, though I have it in 720 for just to make sure that I can come through on many more devices more smoothly. Plus, if you're going to be presenting yourself small, you really need a 1080, 60, 120 frames per second camera. All right, Jose, I hope you feel better. Good health to you, brother. 2 minus 1. 1, 2. Yeah, 2, 5, and 3. There we go. Now that we have these, we can... these are going to crawl and spread all throughout the rest of the sheet. Our saving throw for strength is going to be 2, but our athletics is going to be 8. We're just going to copy and paste this -1, and there we go. We'll just glaze over that really quickly. 2 plus 6 is 8. Also an 8 history. 2 arcana, investigation, nature, and religion. Wisdom is going to be 11, as well animal handling, medicine, and survival. Perception is 5, insight is 5. And we have 3, 3, 9, 3, and 3 for our charisma skills. Your old video card can't do, and my screen is only 17-inch. If you can do a 720, I would recommend, again, that is what I should be broadcasting on right now. Forerunner and CC and Dr. Bright were having a discussion about the realm of the shard mines. That's a very interesting ecology. I don't know how your DM ran it. In 4th edition, I did have shard mines as a part of my world as well. It caused for some very interesting world building and discussion, Forerunner. Death count, I guess for that dex of 8, we can just say she took an arrow to the knee. Yeah, it's an old war wound. She got it back, when she was 12. And she hasn't quite recovered. All right. We have a few more things left, and she's good. Hit points, this is going to be easy, right? At first level, you get your maximum hit dice. Druids are D8s. We get 8 hit points. Every other level, so she's level 19, that means 18 levels, because we already gave her first level hit points. I recommend going half plus 1 of your hit die. In other words, that is going to be 5, right? Half of 8 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Slow, steady increments, and you don't have to worry about things being wild. You also get bonus hit points for your Constitution modifier. For every level, not just first or something. So this is going to be 19, all 19 levels. She's going to get 1 extra hit point. So there's our, this is as complex as it gets. Here's your algebra. Here we have 19. 18 times 5, so you have 8 times 5, which is 40. 0, carry the 4. This is 90 hit points. Okay. So here we have 109 hit points. Plus 8 is 117 hit points. Ooh. 6'2", almost 200, 117 hit points. She's a good, solid girl. Good, solid girl. Wearing leather armor, but with the minus dex, so she's going to have a 12 with her shield. Well, I'm sorry. I think, yeah, 112, by the way. I think it, even with a negative dex, light armor still provides the base 11. So I think that puts her at 13. She just doesn't have a bonus. If I'm incorrect on that, someone please call me out. If you have an armor that allows a dex bonus, if that bonus is negative, does that bring down the AC? Or is it a set minimum? Dark Wolf gives us a woo. Death count runs and hides in the shadows for bringing up such an overused joke. Oh, yeah, for the arrow of the knee, yeah. Mantarok memes. A bag full of memes. That's great. Forerunner, when we have the chance, I will send the story of Tap Tap, Dr. Bright, and my own character. Yeah, please. Please do so, Forerunner. Okay, we do not... She's earned her name. She's not just a set of numbers anymore. Dun, 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 dun. Yay. Her scimitar, 2 hit, is going to be strength plus proficiency, so she's swinging with a plus 8. And I need to double check if those are 6s, D6s, or D8s for swords. You'd think I'd know that by now, but unfortunately it's escaping me. It's a 1d6 slashing. 1d6 plus 2 slashing. There we go. Now, we could use a scimitar with dexterity, as it is a finesse weapon. However, we have made her a strength druid. Anything else? Oh, yes, actually. Our spell save DC, because we cast off of wisdom, is going to be your wisdom modifier, plus your proficiency. So in other words, your attack, plus 8. So your DC is 19, and to hit with your druidic spells, you have a plus 11. Down here, is there some kind of secondary pool? If you want to put Wild Shape down here, you can. Wild Shape, we could do it twice until next level. Otherwise, you can use key points if you're a monk. You can use Bardic Inspiration. You can use sorcery points. Lay on Hands, the pool of healing from that. This sheet is very good for offering that to you all on the front page. Oh, so Dark Wolf, you do want to make her the older sister to Nolan? Oh, his passive perception, or hers, is going to be 15. 10 plus your perception modifier, and that is your natural awareness of what's going on around you. As we talk, as I notice chat, as I'm typing, if someone comes in through my front door, I don't need to stop and look, and I can hear it, and if someone's talking or passing by, or there's a cat or something, that's your passive perception. What are you picking up around you without having to pay attention? And this is a fairly decent passive perception, especially because she's not trained in it. So hopefully Senpai here, as the officer, Senpai will notice people with a passive perception of 15. All right, Dark Wolf thinks that this is going to be the One-chan to the little brother here of Nolan. Nolan and Nora Levexi. Oh, yes. We need to roll up a trinket. This is the trophy that she won from someone. And in fact, I don't... Do we have one for Nolan, who's also a soldier? Yeah, he got trinket number 83. So the little brother's trinket he won in combat was a bit of folded cloth that, when unfolded, turns into a stylish cap. So, you know, he has something kind of like a napkin, and he just goes, thwip, and it turns into a hat. She is going to receive as a battle trophy 86. Oh, very close. An empty silver snuff box bearing an inscription on the surface that says dreams. Very interesting. She took this from someone on the battlefield. An empty silver snuff box bearing an inscription on the surface that says dreams. Let's see. Nolan took for a game set Dragon Chess. So if this is going to be his sister, maybe the two of them play Dragon Chess together. And so we'll give her Dragon Chess proficiency as well. Which, as we flavored it, Dragon Chess is kind of like 3D chess. You may have seen that played in Star Trek The Next Generation. 3D chess is its own thing, too. There we go. Yeah, that could very well be bubonic. Dorgrim says, from what I can find, wearing armor changes the formula used for calculating armor. If the armor says X plus dexterity modifier, then it applies to both bonus or penalty. Okay, so yeah, it would be a 12 then. And I think that would be accurate, because if you're wearing leather, that can stop some things, but it's really just, you're still the person who's dodging out of the way of the attacks. It does rely on your dex heavily. It's just adding to your dex. So if you weren't quick enough to get your arm out completely in time, you have a little bit of shielding that maybe the arrow or the sword swing can, you know, kind of spank off the armor, because you're already out of the way most of it anyway. So if you're kind of clumsy wearing leather, you're not going to be as protected. So that does make sense, Dorgrim. Let's see. I think that is almost all of our variables. Now, I haven't calculated her spells yet, and we can do that very quickly. Druids get new spells every time that they wake up, right? So you have every single spell available to you every day, even a couple times a day if you're very sleepy. And let me add this in real quick. 1, 2, and 3. 4, 3, 3, 3. I think that was a 3, right? Yeah, 4 threes. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, and 1. There we go. Yeah, this one's off a little bit by the dots. If you're running this sheet at home and you've used an expended slot, you can fill these in so you can keep better track of how many slots you have left. So in order to calculate how many spells we can prepare, that is going to be your Druid level plus your casting modifier, which is Wisdom. In that case, that's going to be 5. So we can prepare 24 spells. If we went with Circle of the Land Druid, then we could we would get some bonus spells, because that's a very caster heavy Druid. You can wake up and you can distribute these however, if you want 5 level 9 spells for some reason, choose 5 level 9 spells. You can only cast them once. That's up to you. So here, take your 24 at the beginning of your day, and depending on what you're facing, are you going to go into a dungeon? Are you doing overland travel? Is the party sick and in need of aid from poisons and diseases and wounds? Maybe you want to go cure and restorative heavy. Maybe you want to go detection heavy or things along those lines. But split up your 24 among all of the available spells, like spell levels. And with this character, you can cast up to level 9 spells. And these spells do get serious at the upper end. If we go to Druid, Foresight, Shape Change, Storm of Vengeance, True Resurrection as a level 9 spell. What is True Resurrection? Let's go to it real quick. This is going to flash a little bit. I'm going to go to T's because they are listed alphabetically. True Resurrection, level 9 Necromancy. You touch a creature that's been dead for no longer than 200 years and that died for any reason except old age. If the creature's soul is free and willing, the creature is restored to life with all its hit points. The spell closes all wounds, neutralizes any poison, cures all diseases, and lifts any curses afflicting the creature when it died. The spell replaces damaged or missing organs and limbs. This spell can even provide a new body if the original no longer exists, in which case you must speak the creature's name. The creature then appears in an unoccupied space you choose within 10 feet of you. So, every day, so long as you have 25,000 gold pieces worth of diamond dust, you can bring back a character from history to life in front of you that's willing to come back. That is powerful. It's expensive, but that's powerful. You could just go to a graveyard. Oh, it's Brave Sir whatever. You know, you died fighting goblins in the Great Hobgoblin War. We need your help. Oh. And suddenly, you know, he died 190 years ago during the Great Hobgoblin War, but you have a living legend standing in front of you. If your DM allows. By the way, not all DMs allow for resurrections. Shh. This guy. Forerunner, you got to go for now. All right, take care. It was great meeting you, and I look forward to hearing more about your fun characters, Forerunner. Real Dorgrim removes the SRD microchip from his wetware. That's right, because Dorgrim is our living SRD. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything else. Dorgrim says, I think I might house rule that druids don't get true res. I'll reskin it as true reincarnation instead, applying the same table. Yeah, that could be a possibility too, Dorgrim. Hakora's auto-hosting with 9. Thank you, Hakora, if you are here. If not, I still appreciate your auto-hosting. And for any of you who came over with Hakora on the auto-host, much love to you. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a finished level 19 character. And you know what? For the majority of what we do, we get a character done in about an hour, hour and a half. And it almost... The biggest part of character creation is level 1. Adding levels on top of that doesn't necessarily take a whole lot of extra time. So the majority of what we do is always going to be to make a level 1 character and stack things on top of it, because it flows so well together. Anyway, I'm going to get up and take a break, about 10 minutes long, and when we come back, we are going to look at concepts for an outdoor dungeon. You know, we think of dungeons as underground things. They're confined spaces inside buildings and sewers or whatever. How do you have an outdoor dungeon? Well, we'll talk about it and conceptualize it. We'll showcase some things in the DMG, and I will bust out MS Paint again, as we're going to make a dungeon map. And all of us can populate it. I'll be back in about 10 minutes.